Hello guys, and welcome back to another video here on my YouTube channel. Now today's video, I'm going to be talking about how many players Luton should sign in the summer transfer window. Last season, okay, we got relegated from the Premier League, and I felt the January recruitment side of things kind of let us down and played a part in that relegation. Not bringing in one or two defenders in the January transfer window, especially when we had injury-prone players and just a constant injury crisis throughout the whole second half of the Premier League season. I really did think it had a massive effect on the team. However, goal scoring was never a problem for Luton, scoring against every Premier League team in the division, and there'd be no surprise to hear that I don't think we'll sign an attacking player in this summer transfer window unless an attacking player does leave. Now, I am talking throughout this video that players are hopefully going to stay. So the current group of players which we've got, I'm going to just portray that these are going to stay. And that does include Osho as well, who is potentially could be gone on a free. And that also, I'm going to say that Lockyer isn't going to return back as well. That's how I'm going to go about this video. But everyone else, they're staying at Luton. And of course, if a player does leave the club, we're going to have to replace him. So if Alfie does go to the Premier League, which I think he has deserved the move, like to a Brentford, who are apparently interested in him, or Ross Barkley going to Aston Villa, which looks pretty much done, then you're going to have to replace those players. So let's start on the one area of the pitch which we've got too much competition in, and that is goalkeeper department. We've got 4 goalkeepers. We're not going to sign a goalkeeper unless 2 of them go, which I don't see happening. You could argue one of them is going to go. I think Shay's pretty content with just being a backup keeper, so I can see him staying. It's between Krul and Walton whether or not they want to go out and play football. Walton had a fantastic loan spell in Scotland and he's come back. I would argue and say he's better than Krul. I'm not been impressed by Krul whatsoever. And then you've got Kaminsky as well. So Kaminsky, I think it's going to be the number 1. We know he's going to be more than capable of playing Championship football. I don't think he's going to get a Premier League move. So the goalkeeper department, I think we are safe. Let's move to the right wing back system. I'm going to assume that we are going to continue to play 3 at the back or 5 at the back throughout this Championship season, because it's been the system which we've played over the last 3 to 4 years now. So the right wing back position, Kapore has gone back to Man City. We do have Chio who can play right wing back, and we also got Reece Burke. What you're going to notice throughout this video is I'm going to say a lot of players that can play multiple positions. It's all good having players that can play multiple positions, but when you've got one of those players or 2 of those players or 3 of those players that get injured and they can cover multiple positions, it makes you very light and the squad depth goes completely. Now, I rather have too many players than not many at all, because if you do have an injury crisis like we did last season, you're covered because you've got more players at your disposal. Whether or not they're good enough is a different question, but at least you've got the depth and quality. So yeah, we've only really got Chio Ogbeni, who is I would say a natural right wing back. I know Reece Burke can play there, but I just don't see that happening going forward. I feel like he's more of a centre half. So you've only got Chio. But I think Chio's strengths are further forward in the attacking right wing back, right winger spot. So do we need to bring in 2 right wing backs or 1? I personally think we should just get 2 and then we've covered that basis. Whether or not we do that or not is a different story, but we definitely need to bring 1 in. So 100% we need to bring 1 right wing back in the summer transfer window. The centre back spots, this is going to be my favourite part of the video. We need a couple. Dan Potts has gone, who I felt became a more accomplished left-sided centre half. Amari Bell for me isn't a centre half. I know he's done well playing in that position, but for me he is not a centre half. And as soon as we get in a left-sided centre back, I think Amari Bell plays as a wing back going forward. I don't ever see him playing as a centre back again if we bring in the right person in. But anyway, centre halves. Reece Burke is a centre-half. We've got Mans Anderson, who's a centre-half. Tom Holmes, who was signed from Reading. He's obviously going to be back from his loan spell. You've got Menji as well. So that's 4 centre-backs there. And then you've got a 5th one in Osho if he signs a new deal. Now, I'm a big fan of having 2 players in every position. So we need to bring in at least 1 centre-back. Now, with Tom Lockyer, I don't think he's going to return back to playing football at Luton. And with those names which I've just mentioned, we've got quite an injury-prone defence. So I would say we need to sign at least 2 centre-backs to cover, you know, positions. Now, a lot of people may say to me, Lewis, no player's going to sign for Luton to be 8th choice centre-half or 7th choice centre-half. Okay. Then they're probably not. But if we get an injury crisis, they're going to play at least 20 games a season. Especially with our defence. Our defence over the last 3 years, there's been constant injuries. So, there's no question about it whether or not they're going to play football. They are going to play football. So we just need to bring him in. And like I said at the start, I'd rather have too many players than none at all. So we need at least 2 centre-backs. So that's already 3 positions which Luton need to sign. 3 players which Luton need to sign, may I say. Left-sided wing-back in that position. Now, Amari Bell, whether or not he plays as a centre-half or as a left wing-back, is a left wing-back by trade. And then you've got Alfie, and then you've got Ryan Giles as well. Ryan Giles looks like he's going to go. It's been very quiet about him, whether or not he's staying or not, but I feel like he is going to go. There was rumours about an option to buy from Hull, or he may have other interest from other clubs. I can see him going in the summer. I think we should just cash him while we can. Of course, we've probably made a loss on him. I just don't think he's a Luton type of player. And then Alfie could potentially go to the Premier League. So you may actually have to sign a left-sided wing-back for next season. Now, Alfie, I felt his performances did dip a little bit once that competition on the left-sided went. I think he also got overused a little bit because he had to play because of the amount of injuries which we had. So I feel like a left-sided wing-back needs to come into the club. If we keep Amari Bell as a left-sided wing-back, then we don't need to bring one in. But if Alfie goes, we obviously need to replace it. But if Alfie does stay and Amari Bell moves into that position, then we could get another centre-half in, which makes it either 3 centre-backs rather than 2. Bit confusing, I know. But just to recap, right wing back, 2 centre-halves, and if Alfie stays, another centre-back. If he doesn't stay, a left wing back. So that's 4 players. Confusing, I know. It's so difficult to do these types of videos. I say it every single season. But anyway, moving to the midfield. I know this video is getting really long and I do apologise. We need to heavily look into it. Barkley's definitely going to go. Let's be honest, he's probably... It's literally going to happen. Lokonga's gone back to Arsenal. We've lost Luke Berry. So already we're losing 3 centre midfielders. And that leaves us with, what, Clark, Pelly. You could say Chong's a centre mid, but I think he's better further forward. So you're very light in those central areas. And I do think that area is something which we need to heavily invest in. So I'm going to say we need at least 3 midfielders coming in. 3 centre mids. To provide competition, to provide quality, and these are going to have to be regular starters as well. Oh, and I also forgot about Nakamba. So you got Clark, Pelly, Nakamba. It's very weak in that centre mid. So yeah, we need another 3, I would say, midfielders coming to the club. So we're already looking at 7 players to sign for Luton. I don't think that's not achievable. I think that is very achievable to do, especially with a little bit more money than we previously had on summer transfer windows. And then going forward, do we need to sign an attacking player? No, I don't think we need to. We've got lots of competition. We've got Ogbeni, Townsend, Chong, Brown, Woodrow, Morris, Elijah, Taylor, McAtee. I'm probably missing another player, but you've got 9 attacking players there. There's no reason why we need to bring in another attacking player. But of course, if there are players out there that are better than the current group of players, then of course, bring those players in. But it just means you're going to have to sell some players, and that could be quite challenging. But if that's what we want to do, then that's what we're going to do. But attacking wise, I don't think we're going to have an issue next year. I really think going forward, we didn't have an issue with it last year. I feel like we're going to score goals. We've got players that are proven at this level who can score goals at this level. So I'm really excited to see what we can actually do going forward. It's just the midfield and the defence that really needs to be heavily invested in. And I feel like we have to get that right in the summer. If we do get that right in the summer, there's no question about it. We are going to be up there competing with the other teams that want to be a Premier League side. That's the way I see it. So just to overall recap on how many players I think Luton need to sign in the summer. A right wing back. Could potentially be 2. But we say at least 1. Go with 3 centre-backs, or, 2 centre-backs and a left wing-back if Alfie does go. So that's 4 players. 3 midfielders. So I'd be looking at this summer transfer window thinking, Luton have got to sign 7 players. And if we don't, I'd be asking a few questions, because for me, the evidence is there. Unless I've missed about 3 players off my head, and I do apologise. But I feel like the gaps are there. We need to fill those gaps with good quality players. And I'm sure we are going to do that. But yeah, I'm excited on who's going to come in. I'm looking forward to it. Let me know how many players you think Luton are going to sign. What areas do you think Luton need to recruit in? And yeah, I will see you all in the next video that will come out this week.